Hi everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad and welcome to my June TBR. Now June TBR is going to be entirely and utterly inspired by the Reading Women podcast. So they're actually celebrating their third birthday or third anniversary of starting their podcast, and it is such a fun podcast to listen to. So I thought I'd really want to join in with Reading Women Readathon this year because it is just such a great tool to get so many books off my TBR list, and two, I really do love bingo cards. I love the readathon bingo cards. It just feels a little bit more of a challenge. So I'm going to post the link to the bingo card and their Instagram down below, also the announcement videos of their YouTube channels. It's really fun to see the girls on YouTube, but I'm definitely going to start with the 5 books that I really want to read in June. These are the ones I'm aiming for. I do have some extras that I'm going to go through, but these are the absolute pinnacle reads for June. And I'm probably not going to do this in order, but the summer read that I want to read for June is going to be Miss Bunkle's book by D.E. Stevenson. Now this is a Persephone book. So this was published in the 1930s, and I just love what Persephone books do. They just bring so many classic fictions by female author back to the forefront, because classics tend to be in male-dominated society when there were so many women writing in the time as well. So I can't wait to read this one. It has high recommendations from the lovely Kate Howe. Next is a collection of short stories, and that is going to be Maxine Benjamin Clark's Foreign Soil. Now I haven't read this one. I've read The Hate Race, which is her memoir, but this, I've read a few stories, but I haven't read all of them, and I want to finish this off. I want to read the whole collection because I've been told this collection is perfect. Like, usually you get 1 or 2 stellar stories in a short story collection and the rest are subpar, but apparently Maxine Benjamin Clark's collection is astounding, so I can't wait to read that one. The true crime book is actually going to be a memoir and a true crime, and that is The Fact of a Body, a murder and a memoir. So this is quite interesting. I actually met the author. She came to Adelaide Writers Week, and she, in her memoir, she goes through a traumatic event that she relives because she studies into law, and when she's going through a criminal law case, many of the things in the case are starting to trigger certain things, repressive memories that she's hidden away. So then she has to go into her own past and see and discover what happened in her past, and it's basically her journey into that, and I cannot wait to read this. It was really very intense listening to the session. There were a few ridiculous questions at the end of it, but she was amazing to listen to, and she just had such force and power, and it was just amazing just to be part in the audience. I definitely want to read her book. My memoir by a woman of colour, or a woman who identifies as colour, and that is going to be Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I haven't read any Maya Angelou, and I know she's such a pinnacle female author to read, especially her memoirs, which she wrote a huge chronicle of memoirs, but this is the first one, and it's going to be very interesting because it's set in the south of America during the 1930s when Maya Angelou's growing up with her grandmother. So it's going to be very intense, but I think it's going to be an essential read and perfect timing for this month. And lastly, one that I have been touting around everywhere, and that was with Writers Week, and that is The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay. I didn't finish this book before I got to see Rebecca Mackay, but I did get to read her short stories, which are brilliant. But The Great Believers, I've so much hype, so much love for this book. It is the LGBTQ selection for that row. So it looks at the AIDS epidemic in Chicago in 1985. And how that really changed life for a lot of people, but also changed people's view of the LGBT community. So I definitely want to read this one, and the covers are stunning, so I just can't wait to share my love for this one because I just know I will love it. Okay, so the next ones are hopeful reads. So I have my dedicated TBR and my hopeful TBR. So there's still going to be categories on the bingo card itself, so I'm just going to see how much I can read within June without pushing myself too much, because it's definitely going to be a busy working month for me. But without further ado, for the Asian author category, it's going to be Jing Jing Lee, How He Disappeared. This is also about Asian woman during World War II and the trauma she faces and how it's culturally acceptable to just hide away, pack away the trauma, and how that affects her family and her generations after that. So really good female history right here. Next is an author who identifies as Muslim, and that's Camilla Shamsi. Burnt Shadows. I read her book Home Fires and it honestly blew my brain. It was so amazingly good. So I really want to read Burnt Shadows. It's post World War II, a woman who migrates from Japan after surviving the atomic bomb, yet the fabric that she was wearing at the time, the pattern burnt onto her skin. So she basically starts traveling the world because she's trying to escape her history and her past. So this sounds really fantastic. Next is an Australian author, and I thought what better way than to read Lucy Trelaw's Salt Creek, which is also set in South Australia, so extra homeliness to it. And from everything I heard, Salt Creek is amazing. One of my best friends recommended this, so it cannot go wrong. She's also bringing out another book really soon, I think in October, November. So yeah, that's going to be really exciting to read this one in preparation for her next book. Next is The Square for Mental Illness, and that's going to be Still Alice. I haven't read this one, but it's about a woman who's coming to terms with early onset Alzheimer's and how her family and how she has to start living with this, and it's not just something to be ignored, and how they embrace it in a way and how they have to come to terms with a new reality. So it was made into a movie, but I definitely want to read the book. The kidlit one I think I'm definitely going to be able to get to, and that is Rumble Star by Abby Elphinstone. Now this hasn't been released yet. It is coming out on the 1st of July in Australia, but I really want to read this as it's about a little boy who is dragged off on an adventure and he doesn't want to go. So it's going to be quite fun because I love adventures, so it would be interesting to see this humorous take from the other side. Next is YA from a person of colour, and that is The Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Ademi. Now this got so much hype because one, just look at that cover, and two, the second book's coming out really soon. So I want to read this one and get it done and in the dread pile before that happens. And it just looks like a really amazing, fantastical YA written by a woman of colour, about starring women of colour, so it's going to be great. And of course a beautiful cover, and I'm picking Frances Hardinge, A Skin Full of Shadows. Just look, oh, just look at that. I love it. It's so pretty. Green foil, everyone. Green foil. Ugh, way to my heart. Next we have a rural setting, and I kind of got away with this one because I've chosen Longbourn by Jo Barker. I have been highly recommended this one. This is the story of the servants of in Pride and Prejudice, so in Longbourn, as well as Neverfield Park. So it's interesting to see because Jane Austen famously never writes from the servants' perspective or includes them in any of the dialogue. So this is going to be fantastic. Next is a graphic novel, and that's going to be Nimona. I read a few of these online, but I just wanted to pick up the ridiculousness in paperback format. So this is going to be really good fun. And lastly is Road Trip, and I decided I was going to be a bit sneaky because I really want to read this one because I think it was recommended by was it Emma Watson, her book club that she does, The Shared Shelf. So this one is actually Life on the Road, or My Life on the Road by Gloria Steinem. Now she's basically a feminist activist. Her dad actually took them on a lot of holidays when she was younger, and she realised that growing up didn't mean to be settling down. So she decided to keep travelling and really advocating for women's rights across America and around the world. So this is her memoir, and I thought that would be perfect for the road trip one. Now, of course, these are not all the books or all the squares on the bingo card. I kind of ran out of time to get this done, but that is definitely quite a lot of books for June. Definitely in the hopeful pile, but I'm definitely going to read these 5. They are my must reads. So tell me down below if you are indeed participating, and I'd love to see your TBR or just to hear what you're reading, or what are you planning to read for the month of June. Are you inspired by anything given the season, or something inspiring you for your reading list? So thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.